Welcome to the Leaf Learning 365 video series. Thank you for watching. We hope you find this video valuable and engaging. This video on SharePoint Savvy Tips is going to show you some really interesting tips when you're working with Microsoft SharePoint. So here I'm inside of my Mark 8 project team, and I'm on a SharePoint site, and I'm inside this document library. And you can see that. Here I'm inside of a research and development channel specifically. These are called breadcrumbs. If I go into assets, then I'm in the assets folder and you can see that. If I go into Power BI, you can see that by looking at the breadcrumbs at the top. But I can use this to navigate back and get right back to where I was. Even all the way back to research and development to go into backup. This is a great way of just navigating libraries just by using the breadcrumbs at the top instead of using your back button or instead of getting all the way out of a library just to navigate. The other thing that's really important is that you learn how to edit and create new views and different views. So new views are important. You want to make sure that you edit your default view. That's important. So if I choose edit current view, I'm editing the default view. I wouldn't change the name, but I would definitely select some different things like created and created by. I think most people would want to know that stuff. And you know what? Maybe the file size too. The other thing that I like is to know what version I'm on. The numbers that exist on the right-hand side allow you to change the order of the different fields. So you can pick and choose and decide what order you want the field in. For instance, the date that it was created or who created it, maybe could be second, and I'll make it third, and maybe I'll make this one the fourth one. So that's the created by. So I'm just reorganizing the different columns. Sorting is important too, so I'll have it sorted by the person that, or the date that it was created, and I'll click OK to carve the whole thing in stone. I'll also close my next steps. I don't need that. But now I've got a better view. I can see more information. You can also add additional columns that make it easier to search and find information. You have lots of different types of columns, currency, location, but I want to use managed metadata. Now this uses something called the term store. That's a whole other topic that we can teach you about. In here, these are all different terms that we've decided to pre-populate. And say I'm part of operations and I'd like to tag all the different product names and attach them to my documents. So I decide in the term set products. I could set a default value. So every time you upload a document, it tags it with a default value. And it's important that I give the column a proper name. So I'll call it Keywords for Documents. I'll click on Save, and of course, that adds the column to the default view. You can also edit the column. It's not carved in stone. Maybe I forgot a few things. I can head to Edit, select a different term, or even show the term plus the parent term. I could turn on multiple values, which makes a whole lot of sense if we're tagging stuff, and even make it required. But I would suggest that you don't. Then I can fill up my keywords. I can also still move columns around. It isn't carved in stone. I can move my key columns up so they're now front and center and people can see them. And then to fill them out, the best way? To fill them out for my research and development, I'm going to switch to a different view. I'm going to switch to an edit view. This is the grid view. It basically turns it into a spreadsheet. You now have all these different cells that you can click into, and then it can apply different tags. I put a check mark beside Mark 8 because it's a Mark 8 document. I can click beside another document and click the tag and select something else, like the DC 310. When I apply it, it applies the term. Now don't worry, the term disappears for a second, but after a minute, it does appear. I can do some more tagging here just by clicking checkmark boxes and not actually typing anything. This way, different documents now have keywords that's associated to the document. It makes it easier to find. The only thing you have a lot of times is the document's name. And by applying tags, this gives you a much more interesting way and a much more accurate way of searching the document. Now that I've done some tagging, I can exit the grid view, and now I can see my tags. Perfect. This will make it easier to search. Now I can actually filter using those keywords. I can go into the research development. I can filter by the keyword just by selecting the keyword. This makes it so much easier to find what you're looking for. I didn't have to type anything. I didn't have to search anything. I didn't really have to do anything at all. But by using metadata, you find exactly what you're looking for. We hope you found these tips and insights helpful. Please subscribe to our channel to see more from Leaf Learning, where we are dedicated to helping you harness the full potential of your digital tools. Until next time, happy learning.